Hi everyone, my name is Addy and I am one of the youth ministers here at the Church of St. Therese. 3 years ago when I moved to the cities, a friend of mine introduced me to the restaurant Spoon and Stable. And before I went to that restaurant, I had no idea what I was getting into. I knew it was a nicer restaurant, but I couldn't possibly have been explained the experience of going there, how they wait on you, just the whole atmosphere, the whole environment. But then I ordered my meal and I got a butternut squash ravioli. Oh my gosh, it was so good. And to this day, I can physically remember what that first bite was like. I didn't understand what food could be until I tried that bite at Spoon and Stable. This week we're talking about chastity versus lust. And the Catechism of the Catholic Church defines chastity as the successful integration of sexuality within the person, and thus the inner unity of man in his bodily and spiritual being. So in other words, when we're practicing chastity, we are living the fullness of our sexuality. We're not constraining things, we're not chaining things down in our body. Instead, we're living them out fully and in a healthy way. Just like that meal at Spoon and Stable was the fullness of food. It was so much so that it was a masterpiece. Living a chaste life allows us to truly understand what love is. When we live lust-filled lives, it's like we're consuming McDonald's and Burger King and Taco Bell, and all of these things give us very momentary pleasures. But as the comedian Jim Gaffigan says, once time passes, like 7 minutes or so, these things turn into packing peanuts. All of a sudden, these things that were giving us these momentary pleasures turn into regret. Chastity is a virtue that we must exercise like muscle. We can do this through self-mastery, understanding, using the desires that our body has for good, mastering our desires so that they don't control us. We will never be complete in the virtue of chastity. We will never be a 100% chaste person. This will constantly be worked on throughout our lives, and we'll never be given permission to not be chaste. I mean, even a married couple needs to see each other through the lens of chastity, through the lens of loving each other, body and soul, in a holy and beautiful way. We develop this virtue through self-mastery and temperance, and as we continue to have the conversation of what is healthy screen time, we have to remember that we truly are what we eat. So when we think about this, we have to guard our hearts from what we're seeing on TV, in movies, on the internet, even if we are by ourselves. We have to guard ourselves from those things that Pat Millay, a Catholic speaker, says reveals so much of the body that we can't see the soul. If we start to objectify other human beings, we are removing them, we are stripping of them of their human dignity, and that is just simply not Christian. Love the power of your body, love the power of your soul, and don't settle for feasting on cheap fast food. Instead, strive for that Spoon and Stable meal that is so amazing, so good, and it's truly God's love there. Truly that understanding of chastity where we get to see and experience the fullness of love.